We know that these days physicians, MDs, are handing out pharmaceutical drugs like they're candy, and there are always side effects when using them. They try to convince us that the benefits outweigh the risks, but I'm not totally sold on that train of thought. A very good friend of mine, Mr. John Copage, went to a health seminar that was put on by a company called Mushroom Wisdom. During the lecture there, they presented much information about various mushrooms, and as he was telling me about the properties and some of the cures that these mushrooms were able to produce, I asked him if there was any information that he had about how to unclog arteries and or lower blood pressure. I have been investigating alternative remedies, naturopathic medicine, and I have been a health advocate for over 25 years now. And after speaking with Mr. Copage, he let me know that the auricula mushroom, sometimes called wood ear mushroom, sometimes called Jew's ear or Judas ear or black fungus, was known to do this. So quite naturally, I wanted to try it because I wanted to avoid taking any type of statin drugs. Now, the particular brand of auricula mushroom that I'm using here came after experimenting with a mushroom from another company that actually was not compressed and therefore came in a much larger package, a big bag. They all work the same way. You have to soak them first for at least an hour or more. But these mushrooms are smaller and easier to handle, and the ones I had prior to this were very large. You really have to spend a lot of time cutting them. And if you're going to eat the mushrooms, which you can do as well, it's good to remove the stem that's in the center of them where they were attached to the wood. They grow basically from wood. Okay, so where do you find a mushroom like this? Who sells this? Where did I go? I went to Amazon. I decided not to just drive looking for Chinese grocery stores, which of course in California there are many, and I probably would have had a lot of luck, but it was easier to just get on my computer and go to Amazon, and there were several different kinds. It only meant I had to wait a few days. So after conducting some research to figure out a way to ingest these lovely mushrooms, I discovered a recipe on a website called happyhomemaker88.com. Now you will have the opportunity to see in time-lapse photography what happens within the hour that these mushrooms are soaking in the water. And as you can see, they grow to 10 times the size of what they originally were. Black fungus contains abundant protein, ferric, calcium, vitamin, rough fiber. The content of protein is equal to meat. Okay, well, not being satisfied with that alone, I had to do some further research and discovered that the main component of most mushrooms seems to be polysaccharides, something called polysaccharides. But I'll have more on polysaccharides for you later. Right now, let's get into the recipe itself. In my crock pot, I use 10 cups of water. This is a 4-cup measuring cup that I have here, so I fill it up to the 4-cup limit twice, and then again just half full, which is of course 2 cups. So now we take our well-soaked mushrooms and go through the process of cutting them up into small strips. Now, since these mushrooms are so small, I don't even bother about trying to remove the stems, and I'm only going to drink the tea anyway. I'm not going to eat them. Now, you can eat them. Some people like to scramble them in eggs. I haven't done that yet, and I probably won't because the tea has a different flavor, and it's going to be flavored with the flavorings that go in the tea, so I'm not really considering that yet. But if you've ever had hot and sour soup, then you've had or you've tasted wood ear mushrooms if it's been prepared properly. Now, here's what I discovered are the benefits of polysaccharides. A polysaccharide is a carbohydrate structure that produces a long chain of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen cells. Polysaccharides are formed with glycosidic bonds, which hold the chain together. In nutrition, polysaccharides are digested in the body and used as potential energy sources. There are many benefits to this macromolecule. They can reduce cholesterol, blood pressure, and stabilize blood sugar. Polysaccharides are a broad term for any sugar molecule that has a glycogen bond. Carbohydrates provide energy in the body, and it is the first thing burned when one exercises. Carbohydrates are often called the number one energy source for the human body, and that is correct. Also, fatigue seems to melt away when polysaccharides are eaten. Without carbohydrates, one would often feel weak, dizzy, and have low blood sugar. Polysaccharides are praised for their soluble, long-lasting energy and low glycemic index. Many diets proclaiming low carb are blaming the wrong nutrient. People need carbohydrates to live and perform the essential duties of the body. Polysaccharides provide many other benefits to the body. First, they enhance the mood by increasing the amount of feel-good chemicals in the brain. They also support healthy blood sugar levels, which are very important for diabetics. Diabetics should supplement polysaccharides in their diet instead of simple carbohydrates that enter the bloodstream too quickly and cause an unsafe spike in blood sugar. Polysaccharides have a great effect in the intestine where they are digested, improving intestinal health, helping to reduce certain cancers, and slowing things down so that the energy is released slowly, stabilizing the blood sugar. Another benefit is that they promote cardiovascular health and immunity health and prevent many degenerative diseases like heart disease. Liver function improves when polysaccharides are ingested. In medicine, polysaccharides are used to heal common ailments, heal wounds, treat diarrhea, and relieve heartburn. Now here are a list of 11 benefits of polysaccharides. Number 1, polysaccharides support a positive mood. Stops the effects of fatigue. Promotes a healthy libido. Supports healthy blood pressure. Encourages healthy blood sugar levels and increases calcium absorption. Lower cholesterol and blood lipids. Inhibit tumor growth. Help prevent certain cancers and neutralize the side effects of chemotherapy. Supports healthy energy levels. It has the power to reawaken the body's energy reserves. Acts as an anti-inflammatory by supporting the body's anti-inflammatory processes. Helps balance immune function, combat autoimmune disease, and encourages healthy immune function. Number 10, promotes cardiovascular health, and number 11, promotes healthy liver function. The next ingredient that we're going to use is ginger. Now, I have a fairly large piece of ginger here, and of course we're not going to use the entire thing, we're just going to use a part of it. So we're going to add enough ginger to give it taste, and that is the basic part of the taste that's going to be present in this tea. So I use a fairly good size, and then I take a regular potato peeler and strip the skin from the outside of the ginger. Now there's going to be little nooks and crannies that you can't get with the potato peeler, and as you'll see shortly, I just use the knife blade to get rid of those pieces of skin that are caught in places where the potato peeler won't reach. Now, when selecting a piece of ginger to purchase in a market, be sure that when you look at the sides of the ginger where it's been detached from the plant, that you don't see any mold, or that the skin is starting to shrivel, or that it's drying out, because this won't last you very long. Remove the dry ends from the ginger and discard them. We just want the moist part because that's where the flavor is going to be. So take the edge of your knife and gouge out those little nooks and crannies where you might see traces where the skin still exists. Despite tasting good, there are multiple benefits from ingesting ginger, but I just want to concern myself with the following ones. Ginger maintains normal blood circulation. Ginger contains chromium, magnesium, and zinc, which can help to improve blood flow, as well as help prevent chills, fever, and excessive sweat. It strengthens immunity. Ginger helps improve the immune system. Consuming a little bit of ginger a day can help foil potential risk of a stroke by inhibiting fatty deposits from the arteries. That's good news. Now, since we didn't use all of our ginger, we need to store it. And I find the best way for me to store it is to keep the moisture away from it, and I do that by wrapping it first in a paper towel, because the moisture can introduce mold to the product. Then I just put it in a regular Ziploc bag, something that will keep the air out. As you can see, I squeeze the air out as much as I can and seal it. And it works fine. It'll probably keep for a couple of weeks. The next ingredient is goji berries, also known as wolfberry. And the main reason to include this in the tea is because of the high antioxidant value that's contained in goji berries. I use about 20 or more, and that's what the recipe calls for. Next, the recipe calls for 10 or 12 dates. And there are many health benefits to using dates, aside from just the sweetening property of dates. But here are the two that I'm most concerned with. They are a rich source of protein, dietary fiber, and rich in vitamin B1, B2, B3, and B5, along with vitamin A1 and C. Dates are rich in potassium. This helps regulate a healthy nervous system. Researchers have revealed the fact that potassium intake up to a certain extent can reduce risk of stroke. Dates also help in lowering of the LDL cholesterol. Very important. Just to clarify, not all LDL cholesterol is bad. We're just looking at the type B LDL cholesterol. Turn the dial to high and let that joker cook for 8 hours. So it's best to do this just before you go to bed. Then when you wake up in the morning, you'll have something that looks like this. And you can see where the water level originally was and how far down it's cooked. Drain off the liquid, leaving the rest of the contents in the pot, and have a cup. Take the remaining liquid and store it in jars and refrigerate it. Then take half the amount of water that you used the first time. In this case, since we used 10 cups, we would add an additional 5 cups and then start the process again, boiling it this time for only 4 hours. Your house or apartment will be filled with a wonderful aroma, and you will enjoy your first cup of Whittier tea. I like to use spaghetti sauce jars to store my excess tea in and just refrigerate it. Usually it lasts me for about a week. Then it's on to making a new batch. Say goodbye to low-dose aspirin and statin drugs. Whittier mushroom tea is the best bet. At least try it. It works for me. It may not work for everyone, but it's much safer than prescription drugs.